Welcome everybody. In this video we're going to talk about the face on Mars. And since its discovery in 1976, this has been one of the most highly debated and mysterious sites in all of the planets that we see. And one of the things that makes it so mysterious is that people just don't want to seem to accept that there is a rational answer for this site. In fact, I highly predict that although I'm going to give you the very definition of an electrical discharge site, there are people who will say this was still made by some sort of an advanced civilization in antiquity. Look, there are several distinctions about this site that once we look at it from an electrical standpoint, it will begin to make perfect sense. And so in this video, we're going to look at, things like the shape. We're going to look at the discharge characteristics of it. And it's important for us to understand that the third thing we're going to look at is the history of Mars from 10,000 feet. Mars, just like Earth and just like Venus, was shaped during the apocalypse. The apocalypse involved all of the planets in the entire solar system. That's why it's called the Gigantomachy. That's why it's called a battle between the giants. These are definitions of planetary size events that occurred. And in this video, we're going to begin our look at Mars by answering the question, is this a man-made evidence of advanced civilization in antiquity? Or is this an electrical discharge of an event we have yet to recognize? Don't forget to click that like, share, and subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. And welcome to Apocalypse 43, the face on Mars, an electrical discharge site.
Mars was Earth-like before Earth, and the best estimates NASA has is that it lost its atmosphere, putting the planet into a deep freeze about 3.5 billion years ago. Now let's just say they're right on this one. Well, even if they're wrong, let's just say by 2 billion years, that still means the surface of the planet is 1 billion years old. That's ancient.
Their estimate is actually off by about 3 billion years because Mars' surface was sculpted by the same forces that occurred on Earth, which is why the entire planet looks so devastated. Electric Universe researcher Andrew Hall laid all of this out in his video, A Bad Day on Mars. His evidence supports that the Valles Marineris is an electrical discharge site matching his keystone pattern. The story of this discharge is captured in the story of the Trojan War, where the planet Mars is portrayed as Ares. Ares is pierced by Diomedes with the help of an invisible Athena.
Ares was Aphrodite's lover. Upon seeing the man responsible for hurting her, he felt an enormous rage. He hurled his divine spear at the hero of Argos. But Athena deflected the spear, preventing Ares from killing her protege. Diomedes hurled his spear at the god of war, and, guided by Athena, the spear pierced his belly. His cry of pain was equivalent to the cry of 10,000 men.
The spear tears through the flesh, drawing ichor, the golden blood of the gods. Ares lets out a massive bellow like the shout of 10,000 warriors, causing panic on both sides. That is a fantastic description of a discharge of plasma and energy from the side of Venus. So loud, it was like the shout of 10,000 warriors. Now, how do we know that this didn't happen 3 billion years ago? In Guatemala, there is a Mayan stela with the inscription that states that the gods brought the world into being on August 13th, 3114 BC, by placing 3 hearthstones in the sky. I am here to tell you that not only is this description true, but the 3 hearthstones were Venus, the Earth, and Mars. Now, the discharge pattern of the Valles Marineris, which is larger than North America, should be ample evidence to say that the effects of the event that formed this scar indeed form the topography of the entire planet. We see this further in the evidence of the millions of round craters that also originated from an electrical discharge. There is no plausible explanation for millions of quote-unquote impact craters, where all of them fell from a perfect 90-degree angle straight above. Garrett Samuels of See the Pattern has an excellent video on how these electrical discharge crater shapes formed on the moon. And I bring them into focus here on Mars because we find these exact identical round electrical crater discharges evident all around the face on Mars, and within as little as a mile or less away. Now, we bring these into perspective because we have 3 different images of the face on Mars from NASA, and we need to decide which of the 3 we want to trust as the most accurate image. The 1998 and 2001 images both provide lighting changes that accentuate different features, and so for this video, we will use both. We're going to begin with the 1998 image because it gives us a look at the structure from a slightly side view and with shading that brings into focus one of these perfectly round discharge craters. I'm not making this round shape up. It is found not only at the top, but there are several other round craters visible in the 2001 image as well. Now that we have found these areas of discharge, I want to introduce you to this diagram of an electrical discharge pattern. These are the 3 phases of an electrical discharge. And if you begin by placing the diagram at the round crater position to the top left, you can align the entire diagram of the discharge down the right side of the structure. Not kind of. Exactly. Let me zoom in close so you can see just how exact this pattern match is.
So, now, to be fair, just viewing it through the lens of artistic interpretation doesn't really advance the argument that far. Arguably, the detail in more recent photographs reveals a less obvious face, further adding confusion to the whole debate. Proponents of an artificially created face argue that the right side has been damaged, either due to some catastrophe, erosion, or sediment deposition, or a combination of all 3. But is it really outside the realm of possibility that they're right? I mean, imagine what Mount Rushmore would look like 100,000 years from now. Or what about 1 million? Or 100 million? Arguably, it wouldn't look pristine like it does now. Here's a crude demonstration. What you're seeing here is nothing more than baking flour you buy from the grocery store with an obvious impression of a face. Slightly disturbing the face leaves it with some damage, yet the core structure of the face remains. Now, is it possible the face on Mars has just enough damage so that the question of artificiality cannot be entirely ruled in nor out?
Now, Brian makes a really good point here. Just because we've shown that there is a discharge across the surface doesn't mean that there wasn't a face here first and that a discharge occurred to it. And so we need to begin defining the entire structure itself so we can have a better understanding of what the structure itself represents as part of the apocalypse. At the heart of the matter is finding an electromagnetic diagram that encompasses the size and shape of the whole structure. The diagram here shows the electrical field lines around 2 positive point charges. These electrical charges came down from the highly charged magnetosphere above and terminated at the ground. Electric field lines originate from positive charges and terminate on negative charges. The arrows on the field lines in the diagram point away from both charges, indicating they are both positive. The lines curve away from each other in the region between the 2 charges, illustrating the repulsive forces between like charges. The nature of the incoming positive charge can be seen along all edges, which show a sweeping shape, and the prominent eye on the right then becomes the gap of negative discharge that occurs simultaneous to the downstroke. The positive discharge came down with this portion discharging up, and when the charge reversed, it caused the discharge pattern on the right we just examined and the crater of the mouth from center to left. This is how the complete structure was formed. There are several structures left that I am going to describe and look at going forward, because Mars itself represents all of the same forces that sculpted the Earth, except the Earth benefited from the formation of the Moon, which restarted its weather patterns. And because the Earth was the ground in the circuit, because the Earth was loved by Zeus, the Earth's weather patterns restarted it, and life continued, whereas the life on Mars was wiped out. And we will look at some different examples that have been discovered by other researchers, including Brian Corey Dobbs, that talk about the very high likelihood that there were at least forests there. Now, the question might be, was there an advanced civilization? I don't know. I'm not ready to rule that out either. But I am ready to rule out the idea that the face on Mars was created by an advanced civilization. It was created by electrical discharge. Nobody's catastrophism work touches Dr. Stinky McDougal. It doesn't touch Cole's either. Don't forget to leave me a comment down below. Click that like, share, and subscribe button, and don't miss it, baby, because I'm gonna keep going. Peace out. What do you think, huh? Think that was good?